Welcome and thank you to everybody from Piper Academy coming on in here. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate Piper sending everybody over here. I already know. Where's Joe? I have no idea. The guy has been incommunicado for about 6 hours, so I'm hoping he wakes up from Sleepy Town to come and join us. He's got to adjust this sleep cycle thing going on. How was everybody's weekend? I hope you guys had a great weekend. I do. And speaking of Joe, for those who were on Crypto on the Rocks on Friday night, you know that Joe was actually not even live with us. He was in the chat there for a while because he was busy moving. So I'm hoping that he'll come on and jump on in. But I appreciate everybody being here. You know the drill. Like this thing up. Bam. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you happen to be new here. And if you're on X, because I can see already I got a bunch of people on X. Appreciate you on X. Let's put something in the chat. I'll give you a shout out. Appreciate that. All right, let's see who is in the chat here. And let's go. Mike. Excuse me. Mike. First in the chat here today. Appreciate that. Crypto Bedell. He said he's getting ready for work, but you know what? He's here. I know. Matter of fact, tonight it's supposed to be 7 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Bedell, and BC Port Corp. We're going to be talking a little bit about what I'm going to touch on today, but mostly about getting these how these banks are trying to get into the stablecoin sitch, into crypto custody, et cetera, et cetera. So, but Bedell had a change in his work schedule, so he's not going to be joining us tonight. So it's going to be me and BC running that. So, Bedell, I appreciate you being here today. Thank you. And Jesse in the house, if you are a channel member, Uncle Jesse emojis in the chat, please. Yes, what he said, smash that thing up. Smash that like button up. Oh, you literally just got home. Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad that you are tuning in as you get in here. And here we go. Alexandra G, the mod queen in the house. Love Alexandra G. Again, I don't know how she is everywhere like she is, but those of you who are here know she's everywhere, man. She's everywhere. And so if you are a channel member, mod queen in the chat, mod queen emojis. And here's Piper himself. Appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dylan is in the house. Dylan, let me know when you get your shipment there. I'm guessing you might still be like en route to you, but I want to make sure you get it. So don't forget to let me know. Appreciate you being here, man. And yeah, Joe needs sleep, man. I mean, he had, again, you guys know, he was literally listening in the background, kind of in and out of the chat on Friday night, but he was literally moving all day, didn't even have stuff set up, although he kind of messaged at the end saying he had his office set up. Thank you, Alexandra G. I appreciate that very, very much. And let's see, just zipping through here to see if I'm missing anybody else. BC Port Corp. Speaking of BC Port Corp, again, channel members, BC Port Corp emojis in the chat. Again, don't forget, 7 p.m. tonight, myself, BC, will be live and chatting on Huddle the Line. Let's see here. Yes, exactly, Piper, exactly. She's... I was saying how I don't know how she does it. She's AI. There it is, man. There it is. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And Automatic Beats. Love Automatic Beats. He's in the house. Appreciate you. Steve is in the house. Look at this. Well, yes, you're welcome, Alexandra G. You're great. Let's see. Who else we got? Yeah, there we go. Mod Queen emojis in the chat. Exactly. My God, you guys are on fire today in this chat. I love it. Appreciate all of you being here. Truly, I do. And all right, I guess we're going to kick this thing off. And you know the drill. When Joe's running late, we just kind of go without him. And when he shows up, we pop him in here and let him do his thing and go through the BTC chart for us. Sorry, guys. That's the problem when you are here alone, because, yeah. Sometimes you got to sneeze. You got to. I had a sneezing fit going right before I went live. I'm glad right now that seems to be under control to some degree. All right. We're going to talk a lot of stuff today, and I got a few things BTC related. So here we go. Let's start out with this. For those here in the U.S., back during the dark days of 2020, when we were all supposed to be locked up in our abodes, that stimulus checks went out for $1,400 or $1,200, right? And here we go. If you had taken that money and invested it, look at what it would be worth today if you would put it in Bitcoin. Holy cow. If I had the holy balls emoji, I would be putting that in the chat right now, because holy balls. That is a 1,683% return on your $1,200 well, it would have been an investment. Yes, exactly. Holy balls. Yes. I will say, thank you, Piper. Thank you. I'll take it, because I'll tell you what, it seems like all the time. That's literally, it's just like, bam, there it is. Wow. But that's a hell of a return. If any of you actually did that are here in the U.S., I'd be interested to see what you got going on with regard to that. Yes. Thank you, Alexander G. Exactly. All right, let's keep going on with some Bitcoin news right here. And then we got this from TFTC. That's what this is from. Basically saying that now Americans own more Bitcoin than gold. And you can see the graph right here. I made the my page zoom in a little bit, and I might have done it a little bit too much there. Sorry about that. But you can see about 37 million Americans owning gold, which I still think is a good idea. You guys know that. I put out for Kinesis all the time, because that has been my new favorite platform for that kind of thing. If you're interested, Kinesis, link in the description. But about 50 million Americans owning Bitcoin. That's huge. And probably, a good thing, all things being equal. But all the time on this show, Joe and I talk about solo mining. And here we go. Solo miner just mined. Now, this was Friday, I think. An entire Bitcoin block worth about, $750,000 US for Bitcoin. There it is, right there. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. It gives me encouragement to see these things kind of, coming to pass with these solo miners. Matter of fact, we were talking about solo miners Friday night. Shuby got himself. Speaking of Shuby, it wasn't me. Oh man, welcome Shuby Bucket's in the chat if you're a channel member, and it wasn't Shuby. Okay, well then that means he'll be back on Crypto on the Rocks on Friday night. But and he's still got to go to work, unfortunately, in between. But that's all right, Shub. That's all right, brother. But yeah, the fact that this is going on and these solo miners are hitting blocks, I love it. I absolutely love it. It just helps with the diversification of Bitcoin mining. We've talked about that. I can't tell you how many times here in this chat. So appreciate that. And watch. You guys know a couple of weeks ago, I actually got myself a solo miner, and I haven't set it up yet, because the first thing I had to do was square away the internet problems that you guys all know who have been here for a while that I have been having. And it seems to be, I went through the entire Crypto on the Rocks on Friday night without any major issues. So it seems that, my in-person complaining to Xfinity has rectified the problem. Now that I said that, I probably just jinxed myself. Anyway, but I'm now going to do a video as I set that up, so you guys can see that as part of a video. Matter of fact, for those who are channel members, I dropped the video that's going to air this Thursday, or I've scheduled video that's going to drop this Thursday, talking about the Node Factory, something that Jar and I were talking about on the Matrix Money podcast, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. But watch that. I showed you how to register. I show you how to get your money in there. I happen to use USDT to get in to an ASIC miner that they have. Basically, you can get shares in the Node Factory of miners and nodes, so you don't have to have all that capital outlay. So tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Jar and I. But if you're a channel member, you got advanced. You can watch that now if you're a channel member. So go ahead and check that out. Okay, still no Joe. Again, when Joe gets here, I'm guessing, hashtag Joe needs sleep. Sleepy Town there, pop one. We're going to keep going. And there we go. Yeah, Jesse, thank you for that 3 months being here. Appreciate you. Jesse is always here. He's another one. He's like Alexander G. These guys are everywhere and supporting everybody. And I really appreciate you guys. You have no idea. I know everybody here in the space appreciates you guys, but I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I really appreciate you guys. I do. Thank you. All right. So, like I said, if Joe shows up, we'll just bring them up on the screen. In the meantime, we're going to keep going here. We're going to take a look at the fear and greed index. We're definitely going to look at the debt and the Doge. And we got a bunch of other stuff. Matter of fact, I even added one additional thing because I thought it was important for those who are coming from Piper Academy. You heard Piper talking about all the stuff coming this week with regard to the FOMC meeting and interest rates and that kind of thing. And now I was late to that, so I'm hoping he didn't mention what I got pulled up here. If he did, sorry, I'm going to just have to, I'm going to bring it up again. So Kevin just joined us. Kevin, welcome. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into the fear and greed index. Here we go. Fear and greed, super high. People are greedy at 75 right here on the fear and greed index for cryptocurrency. And until we get some major pullback and people start kind of getting scared, I think this is what we're going to continue to see right here. Lots of greed and people wanting that quick profit. You know what I'm saying? So right here, let's go in now to the debt and the Doge, though. And now every week, Joe and I go over this. And what I like to show you is what the comparison is between each week. So right here, you can see when Joe and I were live this time last week, the debt was 37,131 billion. And the Doge clock was at 564 billion, which is amazing to me, given everything that's gone on with Doge and Elon pulling back from things and so on and so forth, that this thing is even still going up as it is. But these were the numbers last Monday when Joe and I were live. So let's get to the live clock right now. And here we go. 37,160 billion. So again, consistent, which still surprises me a little bit. Since the passage of the big, beautiful bill. Excuse me, everybody. I'm so sorry. The big, beautiful bill. And I kind of expected this to go up more and more, but yet not so much. Staying in that $29 to $30 billion per week category. Not that that's great, mind you. But again, I still think it's better than what it would have been if it wasn't Trump in office. And then the Doge, like I said, still going up, not as much or not as quickly as it was prior, but up to 573 billion in savings with regard to Doge. All right, so let's get into the rest of the news. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And again, some of this stuff we're going to end up talking about tonight again on Hot of the Line, myself, BC, and because Bedell, little change in schedule, hence he's here today. Appreciate him being in the chat today. Yeah, exactly, man. It's, you know what? It's just a given because I'm sitting here by myself trying to get all this information out. I got no time to like water the pipes here, but you guys gonna have to give me a second because I definitely got to water the pipes down. I'll tell you, the older I get, the worse these allergies get. It's just there's like no let up with regard to like the allergies. Just crazy. I remember when I was young, it was just like, what allergy? What are you talking about? Anyway, but yes, BC, I'll have to get me some cough drops. All right, let's get on to this. And here we go. First piece of news right here. CoinShares secures a MiCA license. For those who are over in the EU, you know that, or the UK, whatever, you know that MiCA is a thing over there. You got to definitely get licensure if you're going to be providing crypto services, et cetera, et cetera. Last week, we talked about Gemini and Coinbase moving to that MiCA license. But right here, CoinShares, first to be a crypto asset manager in Europe, getting approved for that. There we go. Good for them. I mean, I guess you got to play within the rules, right? And at least they have rules here in the US. We're still kind of pending a lot of that. Yeah. Uh-oh. I see BC saying it's not crypto on the rocks, Shuby. Uh-oh. And there you go. It's always crypto on the rocks for me. Perfect. All right, let's keep going here. Right here, the FBI drops its probe into the founder of Kraken. And you know that this is a holdover from the previous administration here in the United States. And it says here that they returned dozens of seized devices. And it's about damn time, frankly. And the link to everything I'm talking about is in the description with two exceptions. This is one of them. However, if you check the link out I have for this, there's a link inside of that for this. So let's just zip through this real quick. When federal agents raided the home of Kraken founder Jesse Powell 2 years ago, so again, previous administration, the Justice Department was in the midst of a sweeping legal campaign against the crypto industry. Truth. The raid, however, had nothing to do with Powell operating his crypto exchange, but instead stemmed from a management dispute with an arts nonprofit he had founded. The Justice Department has now dropped that investigation and returned dozens of laptops and cell phones seized from Powell's home. But questions remain about why the agency pursued him so aggressively, about how news of the raid leaked to reporters of the New York Times. And now, you know, I get that causation, you know, that isn't necessarily the thing. I know I'm butchering that, so I apologize in advance for butchering that. But you get my point. One thing may not necessarily be because of the other, but you know, sometimes it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and maybe it's a duck, especially given the previous administration. Now, that was the first one, but again, the link was in there for that. I am about to put a link in the chat for the next thing that I am going to put up on the screen, which is an interview from Anthony Pompliano talking with one of his friends from a, I have a brain cramp right now in the name of the firm, who is suing the Fed to make all of their meetings open to the public, even if it's just streaming. And they were granted an emergency hearing that's supposed to be taking place today. So if that actually comes to pass, and they are told, the Fed are told that they need to put out like live stream these private meetings that have been private for like the entirety of its existence, Think about what that might do to the markets. Again, I'm not sure if, because I got to Piper Academy late, I'm not sure if Piper talked about this morning, but to me, this is huge news. Hopefully, we'll have an answer as to if it was actually how the verdict went on a temporary restraining order to stop the Fed from having a private meeting. But I'm going to let you see about 3 minutes of this interview so you can listen for yourself. And well, see, BC, and they address that in this particular interview. And if you watch the entire interview, they talk about the Fed doesn't make that argument. The Fed makes the argument that they're probably subject to the law that they're going to reference here. However, that the sub-entity, which is the group that has the meeting, I forgot, it's a group of governors, whatever the heck it is, they are not. How can an entity who then has a sub-entity not be subject to the same thing as the original entity? That's basically their argument here at this point. But let me bring this up, and we can iron or put out the proverbial 2 cents a little bit later with regard to that. All right. And Warpaint just got in the house. Appreciate you being here. All right, let me start this. Like I said, we're going to only listen to about 3 minutes of this. So,
my friend James Fishback, he is the founder and CEO of Azoria. He just filed a bombshell lawsuit against the Federal Reserve. He's claiming that the Federal Reserve is not actually complying with federal law to conduct their official business out in the public so that everyone in the world can actually understand what's happening. That lawsuit just won an emergency hearing with a federal judge to understand whether Tuesday's meeting with the Fed is actually going to happen on the live stream or can it happen behind closed doors. Rather than sit and speculate as to what James is trying to accomplish here and what's going to happen, we've got James who's joining us on this show. Here's my conversation with James Fishback. All right, James, I thought a great place to start the conversations with the big story. You are suing the Federal Reserve because they've been holding closed door meetings, and you think that there is a precedent that the government should be required to actually hold these meetings in public so that anyone can hear the conversation and understand what the Federal Reserve's doing with monetary policy. Explain what your case here is.
Good morning, Pom. The case is pretty straightforward. It's called Azoria versus Powell. It was filed yesterday morning in the D.C. District Court. That's a federal court where I am right now in Washington, D.C. And the case makes clear that the Federal Reserve, under the leadership of Jerome Powell, is violating the Government in the Sunshine Act of 1976. That act stipulates that any federal agency with a multi-member collegial body, the FTC, the FCC, or even the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee that sets rates 8 times a year, must conduct its official business within public view. Why? Because the public deserves to know what's going on with these decisions, how the deliberations go down, and what might be coming next. And so, very simply, we filed a lawsuit against them, specifically with what's called a TRO, a temporary restraining order. We asked the federal judge to block next week's FOMC Fed meeting from happening behind closed doors. And usually these TROs, I got to tell you the truth, they just get written off right away. They get denied what's called on the papers without even having a hearing. We just heard back late last night that the federal judge in this case has called for an emergency hearing on Monday, right before the 2-day FOMC Fed meeting begins on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so we will be in court on Monday with Jerome Powell's lawyers at 2 p.m. That judge will decide whether next week's FOMC meeting with the Fed can proceed as planned behind closed doors. We argue that's illegal. I think there's a really good chance we prevail on this case overall, but specifically in blocking next week's meeting from happening in secret.
All right, so let's...
Okay, and then it goes into detail. And I encourage you, if you are even remotely interested in how this case may or may not turn out, that you go ahead and check that out. He makes a very interesting argument and points out how they are trying to poke holes in the Fed's case against having this as a live meeting. I mean, think about what that will do potentially to the markets. I mean, it should be something that we see, because as he points out, okay, when they check, okay, there were dissenting opinions in the meeting, you don't necessarily hear those dissenting opinions unless these governors come out and actually have that conversation with reporters, et cetera, which very rarely happens, or at least around the time that we hear what the decision is going to be. So I think this is going to be huge, and I would love to see them win this. And I will point out in advance that this guy right here that brought the lawsuit, Trump supporter, I don't think that matters, quite frankly. In my opinion, it's something that everybody, you, me, everybody who's interested in what's going on in these markets should know and have access to be able to see that and decide for ourselves exactly what's the temperature, what's going on. Again, my opinion. BC chiming in here. The public deserves to know. I agree with you, BC, absolutely. But the Fed isn't a government agency and operates separately from the federal government. And that was my initial thought when I saw this, BC, and again, he makes a very compelling argument as to why they should be seen under this particular provision of the law that he just cited. The Board of Governors is part of the government, but operates inside of an entity that is, and that's part right there. BC, I'll tell you what, this guy is awesome. This guy is awesome. Maybe we need to discuss this tonight on How to the Line, 7 p.m. Eastern time, to suss this out a little bit, especially if they are granted the temporary restraining order today. Again, he said that hearing is supposed to be today in D.C. at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So as soon as I hear something about that, I'll make sure that we put that information out. So stay tuned for that. But that's his argument, what BC just put on here, and basically said that he is going to, these guys are part of the government. So thus, this should be like, hey, we can see what the hell they're saying when they're saying it, as they're saying it, not just, checking a box, basically saying there was a dissenting opinion. We should be able to actually hear the opinion. On DG in the house, Sonny, appreciate you being here. Thank you. And for those who are interested in that particular project, we're going to be talking and doing an interview, BC, myself, and Bedell next Monday night on How to the Line. So make sure that you come and listen to that. Bring your questions. Sonny is an Ethereum developer that has a project that I think is interesting and should be at least put out there for your consumption. Again, it's a DYOR situation, but come in next Monday night for that interview. We'll be putting out the links and promoting that as we move forward. But right now, we're going to continue on. Again, Joe is still in Sleepy Town, I'm guessing. So we're just going to keep going without him. And should he decide he's going to show up again, we'll bring him on. We'll go from there and let him do the BTC chart for you. But in the meantime, we're going to talk right now a little bit about what we're going to talk of later on tonight on How to the Line. A lot of these banks are starting to really say, okay, time to get these stable coins into our possession and be able to provide these services, whether it's cross-border settlements, et cetera, in a much more quick and efficient manner. And not for nothing, to be able to have their customer base be able to access these as well. So to start with, let's go to this interview right here with, oops, wait. Right button, Keith. Hit the right button. Here we go. This interview right here. It's about 1.5 minutes long. I'll let you listen to it. The volume's a little low. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear it. If you can't, just let me know in the chat and I'll end it. But basically, he's talking. Now, this is the CEO of Western Union. I am no fan of Western Union. For those who have been on this channel, I've basically pissed all over Western Union and the fees that they charge, and anybody in their right mind should, because they've had a monopoly up to now with regard to that, and same with the banks, and that is gone in my opinion, and has been gone for a while. But the banks and these kind of money transmitter entities are just kind of figuring that out, in my opinion. Of course, again, old guy, what the hell do I know? But they're figuring out, guess what? If we don't kind of jump on board here, we are going to go the way of the dinosaur. And with the passage of the Genius Act here in the US, which again, not a fan of the way that's currently written, but not what this whole stream is currently about, gives these guys the opportunity to be able to get into these stable coins and actually utilize this modern or more modern payment system. And we'll just go with that right now. But let's give this a quick listen. Like I said, it's about 1.5 minutes long.
What's the rollout looking like for Western Union on that front?
Well, we're already innovating in several places in the world on moving money and settling. So both in South America and in Africa, we are innovating our settlement processes to move money quicker and to more easily convert into local currency, in partnerships with some of the infrastructure companies you've had on this show. So we are also exploring other partnerships with people who want on-ramps and off-ramps in different parts of the world on how we could enable Western Union's funds in and funds out to enable people to purchase and sell stablecoins. Finally, we're investigating how we might offer stablecoin products in our digital wallets to our customers around the world, again, in partnerships with many of the companies that you've talked to over the course of the last couple of weeks.
What's the balance between this push into that space, and not just with regards to crypto, but overall the more digital strategy that I know you and your team at Western Union have been working on for some time, the balance between that and what we see in the traditional retail side of the business?
Right, and so we have about $1 billion revenue digital business. It's growing obviously at faster rates than our traditional retail business. We also think of our retail business not just as cash. So retail is a value proposition where you can have in-person service. People will fund with bank products, cards.
Okay, and I just want to, what he's saying at the very end there, talking about retail service. So like in-person type service. And given, again, you guys, if you haven't watched my senior series, please go and do that. Pretty much every Saturday, I'm dropping a new video, or I'm trying to drop a new video. I am behind in the recording and editing of some of those. But basically, that demographic is a growing demographic coming into the cryptocurrency space. I've given you all that information. I break it all down. But it is also a demographic that appreciates and operates in that retail space, in the sense of being here one-on-one, talking to a person this close. I mean, here I am, even one talking to you earlier today when I said that I had to rectify the whole internet issues that I've been having. What did I do? The online thing was just a pile of shit, to be quite frank. They have an automated service that's supposed to go and check all your stuff. That sucked. That didn't work. So it took me literally pulling the equipment out and going there and basically tossing it on their desk and saying, this gets fixed today. So I get where they would be coming from, and to the point that he just made about the retail service and the necessity for that, at least during this transition period that we're going to have, because the younger generations, not so much with regard to necessarily needing that in-person kind of thing going on right now. And I get that part. I do. But every generation's a little bit different. And quite frankly, you've got people in every generation that would, feel differently about all that kind of stuff. I know, like I said, for me, older guy, I like that in-person thing, but I'm not afraid of the online thing. Obviously, here I am. Boom. All right. But you get my point. And the same applies even for the younger generation as well. Bottom line is, these more traditional finance and money transmitter operations are coming into crypto and are especially now, I think, coming into crypto. Thank you to the passage in the US of the Genius Act that is going to lay the groundwork for what stable coins are going to be utilized here in the US with that regard to that banking system and more. But again, we're going to talk more about this tonight. I wasn't looking to kind of get off on that tangent, so sorry about that, because I want to keep getting through the rest of what we got here planned for today. And we're going to talk more about that tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Hollow Line. BC and I will dive more into that. So make sure you're tuning in for that. In the meantime, let's keep going with about banks looking to get into the sector, utilizing stable coins and so on. Here you go, another interview with KeyBank, one of the major banks here in the United States. And I'm going to, again, it's about a minute long interview right here. I lied, a minute and a half long interview. I'm going to let you listen to that. And again, the volume's a little bit, so hopefully you'll be able to hear that. And if you can't, let me know in the chat. But again, he's going to be talking about the stable coins. He's going to be talking about crypto custody services for the clients on KeyBank. So these are the trends that we're seeing here in the United States now as all this legislation is coming through Congress and being signed into law.
Around stablecoin and crypto, how are you feeling about getting in and using it as potentially a platform and option for your clients?
I mean, it's early, but I think it has a lot of promise, and particularly around stablecoin. And obviously, the Genius Act was just last week. But when you think about stablecoin, there's really a few things.
Like I said, if you're having a problem hearing that, let me know.
Which will be the equivalent like prime brokerage. That will be dominated by a single handful of international banks. The huge volume, relatively narrow margins. That's not really an opportunity or a challenge for us. The next is as a storer of value. And clearly, to the extent, Sarah, that our clients want it and they want to hold it in their wallets, we will accommodate that. And so we'll be sure to do that. Then there's the sort of discussion around, is it going to cannibalize deposits at banks? I actually think that's a fair, I think it's a threat, but I don't think it's an immediate threat. And I think the industry will respond. I mean, whether it's with tokenized deposits, which I think you'll see banks like Key do, and you may well see, I don't envision Key issuing a coin per se, but I could see us as part of a consortium of banks that issues a coin. And then I think the two best applications are really international payments. Right now, international payments are sort of this Byzantine approach of, all these correspondent banks. It takes a long time. There's a lot of friction. I think stable coins could be a really good solution for our clients. It could be faster, cheaper, better.
Okay, so you get the point there. And listen, a couple of things. I love how he calls out the current SWIFT system. It is. It's archaic and definitely centrally controlled. Not that I don't think that the stablecoin sitch will be as they move forward, but a couple of other things I thought was worthy of pointing out right there is one, he calls stablecoins a potential store of value. Well, that's just stupid. They're only going to hold the value of the currency that they're pegged to. So in this case, USD, which we know what's going on with USD. For those of us who are here in the space, it's not like, any surprise whatsoever with regard to the purchasing power of the US dollar. And the other piece was, oh my God, I forgot what he said. You know what? Doesn't matter. Join in again tonight. It's more we're going to talk about tonight on Hollow Line, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Andy is in the house. Welcome, Andy. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much for showing up. Love when Andy is here. Hopefully, we'll be able to get her back to Crypto on the Rocks soon to chat with us on one of those streams. That would be great. All right, we're going to keep moving along here. We're going to definitely talk about one more piece of the mainstream banking trying to get into the crypto sector. We're going to take a look at some SEC approvals that have come in some hacking information, and of course, scam information that's going on out there. And I'll tell you about my experience on one of them in a minute. Right now, let's take a look at what the next piece is. So right here, a partnership between Goldman Sachs and BNY Mellon. Now, I'm sure everybody in the space knows those names. They're big names here in the United States, hell, even necessarily across the globe. But basically, they're looking to transform a $7.1 trillion money market fund with crypto. It's just a continuation of the same that we're seeing, this move to getting into crypto. And again, I guarantee stable coins are going to be part of that whole scenario. But this next piece that I'm going to show you shows that it's not just stable coins, it's also cryptocurrency itself. Right here, the SEC approves Bitwise 10 crypto index ETF. And here are the cryptos that I'm sorry, guys. Again, I've had this completely set up, but then I decided to zoom in a little bit and it screwed me all up. So right here are the cryptocurrencies: BTC, ETH, XRP, Solana. So automatic beats, if you're still out there, Solana, you're going to be very happy about that, I'm guessing. And ADA, for the ADA gang that's out there. Go ahead, Jesse, put it in there. Sui, Litecoin. I love Litecoin. I think that's a good addition right there. Dot. I'm not gonna lie. Dot kind of surprised me with regard to this. Link and AVAX. So most of those I can see why they're there. So there you go. Basically approved by the SEC. So that we'll be seeing more of that coming. You know what? I want to point this out. I know BC right here is actually talking with Andy. Basically, Andy. Okay, let's start from the beginning. You guys know I'm putting together an Unlocking Your Crypto Journey educational series for people who are new coming into the cryptocurrency space. When I first started that, Andy sent me so much information on stuff that she had already pulled together. It was amazing. One of the things is what BC is mentioning right here, which is the glossary kind of thing of terms that she pulled together. And I'm going to tell you right now, Andy, I'm going to be reaching out to you. I think you should be part of that particular video when we pull that together, because my plan and BC's plan, because BC is going to be joining me for that, we're going to be going and using your glossary terms. So I want to give you full credit for that, and I would love to have you as part of that. So just put that in the back of your head. I know it's not what you like doing, but I'd appreciate that. But for those who know, when that series comes out, so we finished module 1. Now I'm in the process of recording videos for module 2, and that's going to start on the first Sunday of September, right after Billy Goat Tales. And this is going to be probably the first one that drops. So make sure that you're paying attention and watching for that. And I'll put that information out. Again, not what I was planning on talking about whatsoever here today, but because BC put that in there and Andy's here, I thought maybe it'd be worth having that information out there. All right, we're going to continue along here. Wow, I'm already about 45 minutes in without Joe. Imagine if Joe was here. Holy cow. And who knows, he may yet still show up. Who knows? But I'm guessing he's not even going to make it for his own stream at this point. Oh, hashtag Joe needs sleep. Bingo bangos in the chat, baby, if you're a channel member. Bingo bangos. All right, here we go. So the next, oh, wait, got to press the right button. I pressed the wrong button. There it is. All right. So there was a recent hack. This came out, I believe, last Thursday or Friday. Can't remember. One of those days. Basically, Woox being hacked for $14 million. And let's go into the details here a little bit, just to kind of give you the info. Again, this is a Taiwan-based cryptocurrency exchange, so it may not affect a lot of the people who are currently here in this live stream. But either way, I want to make sure that you are aware of this. or you might know someone who might be affected by this. Basically, the long and short of it is real simple right here. Taiwan-based cryptocurrency exchange Woox halted withdrawals after $14 million was hacked. That affected 9 user accounts with unauthorized withdrawals. Now, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to say anything different, but what we're about to read. But here it is. The Woox team said that the breach was detected quickly, and the exchange had already contacted affected users and blocked a number of suspicious withdrawal attempts. As we continue with the investigation, we can confirm losses of 14 million from affected accounts. These users will have all their funds covered, said the Woox team. So, I mean, that's awesome. I think that's a good thing that they're willing to take ownership of that and be able to cover any of the losses from those 9 accounts. And again, I realize that this may not affect many of the people here that are on this stream, but you may know someone. If you do, make sure you let them know. And well, they probably already know. I'm sure they've been contacted by Woox. But anyway, Techman has just jumped in. Techman, appreciate you being here. And oh, look, Melissa. Appreciate you being here, Melissa. I love Melissa. She's awesome. She is absolutely awesome. Yeah, see, always with the good vibes, man. Always, always, always. Love it. I love it. All right. So we're going to keep going along. We're going to talk about a couple of scams and so on before we wrap up. And one other thing that has, honestly, pretty much nothing to do with crypto. It has to do with AI. But I'm going to guess most people that are on the stream at one point or another use ChatGPT. So you're going to want to hear this. So stick around to the end. All right. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at is this Scareware, which is the basic verb, what they're calling it, with regard to Ledger. Now, at the end of the day, this ultimately has nothing specifically to do with Ledger, beyond that, the emails and other information from Ledger users is on the dark web. But as Jameson Lopp points out, and again, links to everything are in the description, so go ahead and check that out. This right here, and I'm going to tell you, I received this, and because I'm in the space, it just was like, here we go, another scam, because Ledger isn't going to be going out there talking about, oh my God, we're going to be crushed by quantum computing, so you got to update your Ledger. No. But you can see the letter right here, and I mean, it almost seems like it could be legit, right? And they talk about quantum computing, basically talk about the elliptical curve cryptography. Say that 5 times fast. And how your assets could be in jeopardy due to quantum computing. It's coming quicker than anybody had anticipated, which I do believe that's true. But anyway, so on and so forth. And then it says, we have developed a Ledger quantum ready firmware. So, I mean, again, Ledger is one of those devices that you have to update the firmware in order for it to operate correctly. So, again, people know they got to update their firmware. This potentially could scare them into hitting that nice little button you see right there that says update device. And I mean, when you do, it's going to be all over. So again, if you are the Ledger user, hopefully you see right through this. But if you don't, or you know someone who might be susceptible to this, this is something when I get into wallets for my crypto senior series on crypto, I am going to mention this in particular because, think about it. Someone new to crypto, a senior new to crypto, would be super susceptible to this type of scareware. But beyond that, there's also this. This one is involving Trezor. Now, I will tell you, and I think I actually even shared on X the fact that I have received phishing emails regarding Trezor and all this information you see on the screen right here at least once a week for probably the last 3 to 4 weeks. At least once a week, multiple times in certain weeks. The bottom line is these hackers, these scammers are out there trying to socially engineer their way into your crypto wallets. Folks, I know, or I'd like to believe, that the majority of you who are here watching this right now, listening to the sound. I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that, folks. Are smart enough to not necessarily be caught by these phishing emails, but they look legit. I will tell you, they look legit. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. These bottom line is, our information is out there. It just is. And the only people who are going to be able to keep ourselves safe are us. You got to be responsible with regard to your information when it comes to crypto, seed phrases, passwords, devices, even everything you do. Everything you do. If you want to see some of the information I put together to help keep you safe, I didn't put the link in this description because honestly, I forgot all about it. But I did an entire online privacy and security series on my website, cryptocoinmindset.com. You go there and you go up to online privacy and security. You click that and it'll literally take you through all the information that I put together on that. I get a base article with regard to that and then dived into different aspects of things you can do, such as things like, I was just going to pull it out, but I guess I put it away. 2FA, and I like YubiKey with regard to that. So stuff like that, how to make sure that you're secure when you're using your mobile device for crypto, stuff like that. So make sure you go check out that entire series. Again, just head over to cryptocoinmindset.com and tab right at the top. All right, let's wrap this thing up because I'm getting into an hour here at this point, but we're gonna get to it. Now, to the point of keeping your information, your crypto information safe, here you go. You got this guy gets pulled over by the police, and basically, boom, his cryptocurrency seed phrase gets ultimately exposed on body camera. Because he's got it written on a piece of paper, which, okay, you're backing it up, you're writing it on a piece of paper. Why he's got it in his pocket at this point, who in the hell knows? The first guy, as you can see, if you listen to this, doesn't even have a clue what the hell this is. He thinks it's some kind of database or something like that. And he's not wrong. But the other guy's like, oh, this is that crypto thing. So they realize, or the second guy realizes that, man, this is for somebody's crypto. And I'm not saying these cops are crooked or anything like that, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. You've risked your seed phrase and all of your potential private keys by holding a seed phrase in your pocket. Put that stuff in a safe location. Memorize it in your head. 12 words. If you're using a 12-word seed phrase, bam, put that in your head, man. Whatever. Or again, if you're going to write it down, which I do encourage you to do that, put it in a safe location. Safe location. Your pocket is not a safe location. What happens if, you pull that piece of paper out accidentally when you're grabbing money or something out of your pocket, it falls on the ground? There are enough people in this world that understand what those 12 or 24 words are for. And you can, with those 12 or 24 words, reconstitute your wallet anywhere. And if you don't realize you've dropped that, guess what happens? There it goes. All your money's gone. It's all gone. All right, enough of my preachiness. I got one more thing to show you here, and then I'm gonna wrap this thing up, and we're gonna be on our merry way. All right, this last one, again, AI. nothing to do with crypto. But I thought it was important that you should know this information, strictly because I got to believe that most of you at one time or another who are here in this chat have used ChatGPT. So here you go. The creator of it, Sam Altman, guys in the space know who that is, I'm going to assume, says that people share their personal info with ChatGPT. I don't know if I would do all my personal info, but whatever. But don't know that chats can be used as court evidence in legal cases. Holy moly. So basically, your ChatGPT stuff can be used if it is subpoenaed in a legal action. Holy crap. Holy crap. And which is part of why I use Venice AI. If you're interested in an AI, link to Venice in the description. They do not keep any of that information. So your chat history is actually kept in your browser, not in Venice AI. So there is nothing for any legal entity to subpoena. So consider that when you are using AI, I guess. The couple of chats that have come in, yeah, I know, Melissa, talking about that stuff, man, the seed phrase, yeah, I get it. Tech Man saying there are bad actors. Yeah, well, exactly. It doesn't matter. I mean, and it is what it is. And yes, I get it. That doesn't necessarily because they're a cop, they're not a bad actor, that kind of thing. I agree 1000%. R.S. Miller in the house. Welcome. Appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate you being here. And what's Andy saying? Any data in the interwoozle can be, yeah, well, amen. And all right, that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. And again, I'm thinking Joe is sleeping through his own damn stream here at this point. So I can't even send you over to Joe's live stream. But listen, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, myself and BC will be live. We're going to talk in more detail about Western Union, KeyBank, potentially the lawsuit that's being, or the emergency hearing that's happening today at 2 p.m. against the Fed to open those meetings up. So hopefully we'll be able to give you an answer as to what happened with that tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, myself, Crypto Jar, live from Matrix Money Podcast. So you know what to do. Be here for that. All right, folks, I'm going to head out. I hope you have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Piper Academy, thank you for coming in, smashing that like. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you. And that's it. I'm out. Have a great day, and I'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time.